Welcome to another episode of Game Boy Roulette, where we take a look at randomly chosen games from the Game Boy library. Star Wars. Weird to see that without an episode title. This is another end of an era for Game Boy Roulette. We've looked at Super Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Yoda Stories, and with this game, we look at the last of the Star Wars games that hit the Game Boy, ironically with the one that released first. And all I can say to that is thank goodness. Putting aside my own thoughts about how incredibly overrated Star Wars is, not a single Star Wars offering on the handheld broke through to being good. Super Return of the Jedi was alright, but nothing special. Empire Strikes Back started with an awkward, unfun maze and never recovered, and Yoda Stories still sits proudly at number 1 of the worst games I've ever played for Game Boy Roulette. Although to be fair, recently I've been wondering if Double Dragon 3 beats it. I really should get around to that top 10 best and worst GBR games list. But back on topic, the first Star Wars game for the Game Boy was a port of the first Star Wars NES game, released in 1992. The original NES game was created as a joint venture between Lucasfilm Games and Beam Software, but the Game Boy port was handled by NMS Software. Named after the founders' children Nick, Mark, and Simon, NMS Software mainly focused on ports. In fact, Star Wars was probably their biggest game. Some of their other games include Aladdin for Linux, Risk for PlayStation, and Star Trek Pinball, which I'm pretty sure is a conflict of interest. And normally this is where I talk about how I miss those days where companies existed specifically to port other games, but honestly, that's one thing about old gaming I don't miss. Most of these port-exclusive companies didn't do a very good job. Let's give credit where it's due, this is phenomenal box art. They went above and beyond to capture everything they could about Star Wars. Luke, Leia, Han Solo, Darth Vader, the disembodied floating head of Obi-Wan, it really is quite spectacular. So get your lightsabers ready because for one last time, we head to a galaxy far, far away for Star Wars. Remember when Star Wars wasn't owned by Disney? It's been a while. Oh? Is it the real theme? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? It is! Star Wars! Ooh, is it gonna be a text crawl? Rebel spaceship striking from a hidden base. Wait! Oh, this is the actual one from the movie. Okay, that's kinda cool. They're sticking with the movie pretty closely. Wow. You know, for a Game Boy cutscene, that's really impressive. It's not my fault, sir. Please don't deactivate me. Okay, they're sticking the movie. Oh, what? Oh, was that just like an intro? Can I go back out and see this? Oh! Oh, it's one of these where you go around a top-down in order to find 2D gameplay. And this is that 2D gameplay. What? What just happened? Something like pulled Luke straight to the ground. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so, you know how in some games if you tap A or hold A you get different jump heights? With this one, the moment you let go of A, you go crashing back to the ground. Interesting. There's a gun. Oh, by holding it I can run too. When do I get my lightsaber? Did that happen in the first movie? I honestly forget. Like I said, me and Star Wars are no longer friends. Don't I? Oh, just a blaster upgrade. Cool. Okay, and now we, look around, I guess. Is this just like a big, open, empty field? No! There are insta-kill monsters. Good to know. What am I looking for? Oh, hi. My scanners show that R2-D2 is located in this sandcrawler. Oh! Okay, we found it. That wasn't too bad. Let's go. Ow! What the? Wow, this game loves having enemies, like, quickly appear. Can I jump on this? No. What am I looking for? Oh, no, don't you dare. Okay, we gotta be careful of the very suddenly appearing enemies. Alright, so it's a bit maze-like, but not horrible. Nope, can't do that. Oh, there's fall damage? Damn it. Platformers just should not have fall damage. Especially after you do something like that. No! I'm just gonna keep firing forever to make sure nothing hits me. God, that's loud. I will say, gameplay-wise, it's not bad. In fact, I'm kind of enjoying it. It's just, it's making a couple very, very common platformer problems. Instantly appearing enemies, extremely high difficulty. This is a personal gripe. I don't like it when the first level is a maze. Starting your game off with a maze, I feel like brings it to such a screeching halt right out of the gate. Will this work? Yes. Aha! I made it somewhere. Oh my god! The momentum in this game is all over the place. It's funny, there's a lot in this game that's annoying me, but I kind of want to keep playing. Which is usually a sign that you've done something right. It might just be that it hits the basics of looks nice and plays well. I'm able to jump around. I'm able to control myself for the most part. It just seems like they cranked the difficulty a little too high for my tastes. What's down here? I don't know. Oh! Hi! That is R2, right? R2-D2 says that he is the property of General Kenobi. Okay, well, now we're back here. Now what? Okay. I like that the levels are broken up with this. It's not much, but just a touch of variety goes a long way. Is this the cave we started in? No, this appears to be Metroid 2. Oh my god. Hang on, I want to see if we can find another place and see if we get dialogue at the start of it. When we went into that base, 3PO talked to us. When you find the place you're supposed to be in, does the game tell you? I like the Star Wars cruisin' music here. It could also be that these caves are just for power-ups. What are you? Alright, I did something. What's my prize? Damn it! Yeah, so I think the game plays well enough that, you know what, I'd be willing to give it more of a shot. But also, it's making a lot of mistakes. The instant enemies appearing, the high difficulty not giving you a good indicator of where to go next. I kind of feel like you'd need a guide to play this game. But hey, some games are like that. And I have played way worse. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've played worse, but I've also played way better. Is this the best Star Wars game for the Game Boy? It might be, but it's still not great. Star Wars and the Game Boy just never really fully clicked. I guess just like Star Wars and me. Well, in the eternal battle of do versus do not, I can say that this game certainly did. Yet again, a Star Wars game on the Game Boy fails to be really great. But of the 4 games the franchise offered to us on the handheld, I will say that I think this was the best one. But let's start with the negatives, and there were a bunch that felt like mistakes that a lot of platformers make. Enemies appearing out of nowhere with little time to react, fall damage meaning any mistake would hurt you, the first level being a confusing maze so you start the game at a snail's pace, all things that bring the platforming experience down. In a lot of cases, I think that those 3 alone could have completely sunk the game. And yet, they kind of balanced themselves out to make the game somewhat enjoyable. The maze was tough to figure out, but I somehow never got bored. The enemies appearing quick was difficult, but once I learned where they were, I got through no problem. The fall damage was annoying, but there were very few jumps where that was a big problem. And the game did a lot of stuff right, too. The top-down exploration between levels, the good graphics and music, and totally solid controlling gameplay, even following the plot of the movie closely, right down to some impressive cutscenes. So the game made mistakes, but did more than enough right to counter them and leave us with a fairly good, if not anything special, platforming game. I don't think this is a great game. It has its flaws, doesn't stand out much, and can also apparently be beaten in only 30 minutes. But it is a heck of a lot better than some of the other garbage that this franchise gave us on the Game Boy. So our final look at Star Wars ends on a positive note. Maybe not extremely positive, but positive nonetheless. So for today, Star Wars, we're cool. But you do still have a lot to answer for. And that's all for another episode of Game Boy Roulette. Make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe to follow the series as we continue to dig through the Game Boy vault. I'm Brian J, and I'll see you next time.